conditions are going to be slippery. The kicking game is going to be important for these two sides, and it'll be the Warrington Wolves who will get us underway in Perpignan. Catalan winning against Hull Kingston Rovers last time out, their first win since they secured their Super League status with that £1 million game victory at Lee back in September. And it is almost 2 years since the Catalan Dragons fans saw their team win consecutive home games. That is the target for them. For the Warrington Wolves, it's to get back in the winners' enclosure after defeat last time out at the hands of St Helens. And it's Catalan in possession then at Gilbert Brutus. I wonder what that victory over Hull Kingston Rovers has done for their confidence. Ben Westwood, as ever, in the thick of it, right from the word go.
Well, it would have been a bit more of an enjoyable week. It would have taken the pressure off them. There's no doubt that that would have built, and there'll still be some unsure eyes, I think, cast from both the director's box and from the stands. As I said, they failed to convince, but they'll be extremely relieved to get that first win under the belt.
First kick of the game, not the best. And straight into the arms of the waiting Stefan Ratchford, making his 18th consecutive appearance. The last time he missed, actually, was against the Catalan Dragons last June.
Well, the kick was made by number 22 for the Catalan Dragons, Lucas Albert, the scrum half. I mean, you've got to imagine the pressure on a 19-year-old scrum half of the team that's at the bottom of the table, playing in a country with so high expectations, and now Warrington go outside on that side. Tremendous amount of pressure on the number 22.
Bryson Goodwin in possession. His return is a boost for Steve Price and his team, the Kiwi international. But Ryan Atkins, as mentioned, not available. That's the fifth tackle. And Roberts hoists the kick towards the waiting Tierney. It's a great one on his line, and Tierney won't be able to escape the clutches of the Warrington chasers, and that's as good as you could hope for, really, other than coming up with some points in the first set.
That kick is outstanding, wasn't it? To get the ball to sit just short of the try line forces Lewis Tierney to jump from the field of play, lands in goal. An absolutely brilliant kick. We've seen one or two from Tyrone Roberts this season. None of them have led to spectacular tries, but at times he's put some bombs up which have been so difficult. Now the opposite scrum half, it's his turn to kick it as far as he can.
Albert, and it's straight back to Roberts, in fact, but Roberts then shifts it on to Hughes. The Warrington
hold, go on. Nice and quick,
getting a good share of possession at the start of this game in Perpignan. Darryl Clark, man of the match on Sky recently in the defeat at Hull FC. Roberts, Ratchford, they're going to go wide to Lynham. Lynham puts the brakes on, comes back in field to Westwood. Westwood, little shape to kick there from Ben Westwood. I'm sure he was a dummy. Westwood takes the tackle. Here is Hill now. Hill onto Roberts. Roberts to Hughes. Hughes steps back in field, but the tackle comes in from Thornley. Go. Because of ex-Wigan men going head-to-head there. Roberts, nice kick from him. They could get the ball back here. Gigot trying to get out of trouble, but nowhere for him to go. And it's another goal line dropout.
Well, that'll have to please Steve Price. They're building pressure out, and they've got the opponents on the rack. Gigot does really well, doesn't he? Another kick. We've seen a high kick from Roberts. Now a grubber into the in-goal area. They'll get the ball back again, you would imagine, here, unless this kick is contested as a short restart.
That's the only one.
I'm not sure this foot actually hit the dead ball line anyway before he's grounded by three Warrington defenders.
Okay, Lucas.
So Catalan having to absorb pressure early on from the visitors. That's a better restart from under his post. Roberts, that ball went backwards. Play on, says the referee. The Catalan crowd furious at that. But referee said that went backwards, which it did, I think. Here is Chris Hill.
We'll see what Warrington plan here now. Look, they will have rehearsed this situation in a good attacking part of the field here. Players up the sleeve, lots of players now moving in black shirts.
Brown shifts it on to Ratchford. This is great work, and they will get in the corner. First try of the game from Mitch Brown. And And Warrington's pressure tells, those back-to-back goal line dropouts, stretching the Catalan defence.
Some great work in the middle of the field. It was actually the carry before this one that attracted Remy Casti out that defensive line late, almost to add weight to a tackle that he didn't think was complete. It's resulted in some really low line speed from the middle, allowed the Warrington Wolves to get the ball through the hands of the outside backs as a result, not able to get up and apply the pressure they would have liked to. Mitch Brown, well, he benefits, opens the scoring in the corner. There'll be a nerve-settling score for the Warrington Wolves as well, because they'll know they'll be up against it this afternoon. The conditions, well, they would generally, you would assume they would restrict flamboyant passing game, so they'll be very, very pleased with that.
Mitch Brown then getting his first try of the season. This was the knock-on. Well, it was the knock-on according to the Catalan supporters.
Pretty clear it went back, and they're glad that Bryson Goodwin's come in. Now, they boasted at the start of the season this player had an 80% success rate as a goal kicker playing in Australia last year. This is a very tough one, obviously near the sideline, but they need every point they can get at present.
Bryson Goodwin, player of the month for the Warrington Wolves in February, back in the side, and he's failed with his first attempt at goal.
Here's his drop out again. It does go back towards his own try line, doesn't it?
I don't know about that.
But here's a player. Warrington have put this on several times in matches so far this season, but never been able to be effective as they have there. Created an overlap. Stefan Ratchford coming in as the fullback meant that they had one extra player. They made it look very easy, didn't they, to create the space for Mitch Brown.
Toby King providing the final pass. Been in the centres for the last couple of games. Ryan Atkins unavailable, so it's King and Goodwin, the centres for the Warrington Wolves, who lead by 4 points to 0 in soggy Perpignan. But it's warm. Just not very dry, but Warrington, this stage of the season, looking for some continuity.
And that's an area of the field that they're looking for as well. Lucas Albert is diminutive. He's involved in a lot of the good stuff that they do in attack, but they're sending plenty of traffic his way. You know, big responsibility for Braden Williami on his inside to look after him defensively.
That's a stray pass. It's knocked forwards. And it was a Catalan knock-on. Chris Kendall spotting that one. There's the Warrington supporters, delighted with the way their side have started this contest.
They were desperate to fall on the ball. Michael McLaughlin, I think it was, who tried to bounce onto it, but it went forward from him, and Warrington enjoyed the majority of possession in his opening 6.5 minutes.
Okay, mate, head in the scrum. Mackie, let's go.
So the Warrington Wolves have head and feed just inside Catalan Dragons territory. That's a good strong run from George King. Jack Hughes brought down by Louis Anderson. Garcia, a little slip there from Roberts as he put his foot on the floor or tried to put the gas in. He just didn't get any traction. Brown skips back in field, but the Catalan Dragons were waiting for him there. Darryl Clark, little gesture from him. Waves Chris Hill onto the ball. Hill, as ever, is there and willing to take on the challenge. Then they go down the short side, and their little kick from Brown. Lovely hands from David Mead. Even with Catalan struggling already this season, you see the class that David Mead has brought to the competition.
He's looked dangerous on them, when they've had some attack, and I think if they're to win this game, they're going to need the speed of Mead really as the match progresses. He is a dangerous player for the Dragons. They've struggled to make breaks. They haven't really threatened many of the teams in terms of attack. But you have to imagine that given the opportunity and some space and time, David Mead could really hurt opponents. For the first time here now, we're going to see the Catalan Dragons almost get up and over the halfway line.
Yeah, they've been under the cosh for the opening 8 minutes, really, in this game. But on the last, the kick comes in, and Ratchford fields that just a few metres away from his try line and then runs it back towards the waiting Catalan defenders.
They're lucky, the Dragons. They've got someone with the experience of Greg Bird. As we said, with notable absences, particularly from a kicking point of view, with Luke Walsh missing the games. Able to step up there and take a bit of pressure off Lucas Albert, let him concentrate on more attacking football, what he seems to have excelled at in recent weeks. Vastly experienced is Greg Bird.
Williame cutting Bryson Goodwin down with the tackle there. 4 tackles gone for the Warrington Wolves as they edge towards the halfway line. Cooper plays the ball, and Roberts again kicks deep downfield. That's another good kick.
Brilliant kick into the corner, isn't it?
Mead, he's pinned down there, hemmed in by the chasing Warrington players.
And they're enthusiastic, all the black line up there, look, moving up quickly. Jaha tries to bounce forward, but even with his power and strength, he's only made 2 or 3 metres.
And all the sound you can hear is coming from that left-hand end of the ground where the Warrington Wolves supporters are cheering their side on. Here is Casti now. Phenomenal servant to this Catalan club on 242 appearances now, nearing on that all-time record for the Dragons.
Great run by Greg Bird.
Bird takes him over the halfway line. That's the 5th tackle. And then Lucas Albert hoists that kick. That's a tall one, that is, but Rashford, eyes on the ball. Look, you can see him slithering there as he tried to get going.
It was a steepling bomb, wasn't it, from Lucas Albert? Really well taken. Composed by Stefan Ratchford at the back. He's been much improved. Shaky first couple of games of the season, and seems to have really pared back his game. He's getting the basics right. And that's a real shot in the arm for the rest of his teammates, knowing when that ball goes over the top of them, that they've got a safe pair of hands and a good start to the set.
Here's Chris Hill, the Warrington Wolves captain, named in the England elite squad.
Well, even early in the match, the first 10 minutes, they've struggled to put Chris Hill on the floor. The number of times that referees called hell with him still upright. Disappointing for the Dragons. This could be disappointing for Warrington here as apparent injury. Darryl Clark.
He got a smack in the mouth by the way he's just tenderly touching his lip.
Just take your time with him, lads. Take your time with him.
Remy Casti over the top. Looked like
high, was it?
Penalty, I don't think, no. Player slipping. There's one with Tyrone Roberts now. Breaking play, it's a 5th tackle. Test of concentration here for the catchers, I imagine here.
Darryl, take your time, please. Take your time, you don't have to rush.
Steve Price down on the sidelines.
Take your time, Dan.
And Gilbert Brutus. They like their close-ups to the host broadcaster.
Got another head injury.
Chris Campbell is pointing out another head injury.
Okay, now it's going to be last tackle.
Must be another Tyrone Roberts
Time back
bomb.
on. Last tackle. Off we go, Darryl.
Jaha's had a bit of pressure this year, but no, they've passed it right.
Chris, give 10. Chris,
Roberts it is who hoists that one. Mead comes for it, claims it well.
Surrender.
Nearly got cleaned out by his own player because Greg Bird was coming backwards towards him.
We've seen a high degree of skill here in difficult conditions on a soggy surface. No handling errors yet, no penalties. Going end to end, both of them just feeling their way into the match. Few passes, conservative approach, but I guess you'd expect that with the nerves that these two teams have had recently.
Catalan
Move, Kevin!
trying to give the ball a little bit of whip, and they get the penalty. First of the game.
Yes. Significant that if there is such a thing, they won the penalty count last week when they played against Sogaya. I say won in terms of they received 11 to the 6, I think, that the Hull KR side were awarded throughout the course of the match.
So Catalan looking to respond to that early try, scored by Mitch Brown for the visiting Warrington Wolves. And That ball is spilled and Catalan squander possession, and Warrington's players salute each other's defensive effort there.
Ball squirmed out in contact. Loose carry really for those conditions. Just going back to the play from the Dragons that earned them the penalty, it's significant where it ended up. It's going left to right. If there's a strike side for the Dragons, it is that right centre. Tony Gigo, they've really missed him. Last year, I was reading a couple of statistics on him. He topped the Catalan table for tackle busts. And don't forget, he didn't play after the month of July. Really significant, great footwork, good fend, good pace. We expect to see a lot more traffic down that Warrington Wolves left edge as this match goes on.
Referee Chris Kendall referred a moment ago to another head knock for Warrington. I'm just wondering whether it's George King he was referring to, because you can see a little bit of blood under King's left eye, and he does appear to have a shiner coming up, so this he appears to be closing. Actually, there plays the ball. It's another good kick. That is another great kick, and Fuad Yaha is under pressure here, and he might just have done enough, although the referee is going to see whether Bryson Goodwin managed to get a hand on that before the ball went dead.
Well, this is brilliant vision by Kevin Brown. He recognises the space in behind the line. David Mead's up as a defender, and he puts it perfectly into that try-line in-goal area. That's the first try-line that we see. The dead ball line, it's gone over, and he just gets there too late for the Warrington fans. Oh, they were desperate there for a second score. Good kick from Kevin Brown. We know good Bryson Goodwin's been so far this season, but the young right winger for the Catalan Dragons does enough to deny the Wolves.
It's a good reactive kick as well, Phil. He's seen that David Mead's in the defensive line, sat on that short side. You see Mead has turned and scrambled. Short side winger has to be up anyway. That's normal protocol. David Mead just lapsed in concentration there for a second. It's cost him another set of 6.
Or has it? Is there not a case for Tom Lynham being penalised for shoving Fuad Yaha in the back?
It's possible that may be what they look at again. Otherwise,
look how shallow Mead is here. He's in the defensive line. He's talking, but it's well read there by Kevin Brown.
They're onside if that's the issue.
Made sure they're engaged. David Mead didn't release him. We'll go back in time and have a look at that again.
It's a great effort from Fuad Yaha. You know, he's a big man. He's had to turn. The momentum's with the attacking side, who are already moving quicker than him, but he got going as quickly as possible and did well, didn't he, to smother the ball and get it over the dead ball line. I think this is a goal line dropout. And don't forget, the last goal line dropout led to Warrington try, so the Dragons need to improve here and need to improve quickly.
Well, there could be a number of things they're looking for. Whether Darryl Clark was offside, whether there was a shove. There's no try, but what happens next? And it is a penalty, and offside is the call.
So the man who passed the ball, we presume Darryl Clark, was the one. The ones outside him seem to be in an onside position. He's explaining here now.
He's offside. Darryl Clark's offside, and then in the 10. Darryl Clark offside in the 10.
Chris Kendall explaining the situation.
Fairly clear. Offside at the point of the kick, and then within 10 metres at the point at which Fuad Yaha touched the ball. It doesn't detract from the quickness of thought from Kevin Brown, though, we have to say that.
Dominant!
He spotted David Mead out of position and really responded quickly.
Westwood, another great tackle from him as Catalan struggle to make headway against a determined Warrington Wolves side who lead by 14 points to 0. Here's Castillo, gets one for his team there. He's had so many for his team, Remy Casti, down the years, but he keeps coming back for more. Up to the halfway line. Back infield, that's the 5th tackle.
Go, 5.
And Lucas Albert again hoists a high kick. Ratchford comes for it. The body's all over the place. Still on the last, says the referee. Comes to Thornley. Tierney, I beg your pardon. He'll chip and chase, and Ratchford keeps his cool. He knew that was too strong. First real attacking threat from the Catalan Dragons, if you can call it that.
It's, again, all coming from kicks, but then again, this is the Catalan Dragons of old that we're seeing here. It's that lapse in discipline. Maybe the first elements of fatigue from Remy Casti. It's off the tap, and it's it's Garcia, I beg your pardon, who's gone underneath and tipped. Remy Casti was over the top.
On me, lads.
They really hurt you as a team because you give up a good 20-25 metres. Really changes the end point of a set, can put you under some real pressure as you get towards the end of this set for Warrington, rather than a midfield kick downfield.
Already looking as though we might not see a points fest in this contest like we did last August when the sides met. Warrington scored 9 tries in a 52-24 victory. Here, after 15 minutes, they lead by 4 points to 0. Just that Mitch Brown try so far. But they're rolling forwards again with George King. Now here's Kevin Brown. Roberts, here's Ratchford. Ratchford brought down, good tackle from Gigo, and Gigo is penalised.
Last tackle Panther here. It's been perfect for the Wolves here this opening quarter, the possession they've had.
Really well recovered from Gigo because he caught himself
Bryson, what are we doing?
sucked in by the lead runner, and the ball had come out the back. Just that extra little effort to put more pressure on this Catalan Dragon side, who are looking a little frayed around the edges at the moment.
Catalan looking a bit disconsolate with that decision. Back on their own try line as Westwood plays the ball. Darryl Clark now. Here is Chris Hill, and Chris Hill upended by the Williame tackle. Little snipe from Clark, and Clark will play him a try for the Warrington Wolves. Remy Casti appeals that he lost the ball as he went for it, but the referee awards the try without any reference to the video ref. And Darryl Clark, whose form has been impressive so far this season, extends the lead.
Would like to see that again. Does he hit the line? It's a pragmatic approach from the hooker. He goes hard and low, bounces off David Mead, just about touches the ball, I think, on the line. The referee's awarded it, so it's irrelevant now. It's 4 more points. She's not really too bothered at present, but she checks the scoreboard. She might change her expression because her team are struggling.
Bryson Goodwin should hit the target with this conversion. Not far from the posts. Former South Sydney man has been an impressive signing in a not particularly impressive Warrington start so far. Goodwin had thump with the boot, and Clark's try is converted.
Well, it's Clark who scores the try, but you can trace that all the way back to that tip tackle penalty from Garcia at the other end of the field. You know, it gave Warrington a really good look at that Catalan Dragons line, and once then it completely changes the complex of that defensive set. It's a coach killer, is that one as well, from dummy half.
You see that one from side on though, and did he get into the line?
Chris Kendall was extremely confident, wasn't he?
That's where Warrington are winning this battle. People like Mike Cooper and Chris Hill doing their best, aren't they, making meters after contact there. Hard to put down on the ground.
10-0 Warrington lead then. 2 tries and 1 Bryson Goodwin conversion. And really they've dominated this game. Catalan struggling when they've had possession and struggling when they're in defence and having to contend with Benny Westwood.
And it's the area of the field that they're at, down that right-hand channel, straight at Lucas Albert. They see him potentially as the major attacking threat, and they're making him do plenty of work.
Said we might not get a points fest, but the way Warrington are going about it, they might rack up plenty of points. The kick is collected by Lewis Tierney.
Surrender! Stand!
Well, the one thing the coach has spoken about are the penalties that his side have conceded. That's the only thing that you can imagine is going to help the Catalan Dragons get out of trouble here, because they're losing the physical battle in this match at present.
Warrington taking their try tally to 14 this season now, so it's an improvement. Haven't been at their fluent best so far, but they've had the upper hand in this game. Quarter of it gone. They lead by 10 points to 0. And that's the 5th tackle. Catalan just about making the halfway line.
Brian McDermott was quoted after Leeds' victory last night at St Helens that, you know, although he may not have been able to take an awful lot analytically, not a lot of lessons at the end of that, the way in which they won away from home would be massively valuable for the confidence. I think you could say the same should Warrington come away from the south of France with those 2 points, given the start to their season. That will cure a lot of ills.
Well, a victory in Perpignan would send Warrington into the top 8. Still some round 6 games to come, of course. Castleford Tigers against the Wigan Warriors, the one game on Sunday. And Mike Cooper, that's the 5th tackle. As Phil said, the Warrington front row is showing up well here. Tyrone Roberts hoists that kick, and Mead is there again. Great tackle from Mead in the victory over Hull Kingston Rovers last time, which probably saved Catalan Dragons bacon on Adam Quinlan. It was Tierney taking his time to play the ball and looks at the referee and complains about something. Referee not interested.
The Dragons
are in great defence from Warrington.
They're in big trouble here, the Dragons. They're going backwards, they can't even make ground with the ball. It's single efforts. They're going to need somehow a dramatic change here in this game to have any chance.
Kick early, and it's over the head of Mitch Brown, but it's into the arms of Stefan Ratchford.
Once again,
Ratchford collected by Thornley.
It's great positioning from the fullback, isn't it, Bill? Now, he's been faultless so far this afternoon. The one thing that's accompanying high completion rates and good kicks at the end of the sets is a good chase, and then good initial contact as well. The Catalan Dragons really burning through tackles at the wrong end of the field. They're lacking a lot of shape as well, looking very one-dimensional, not a lot of width, which means the defence of Warrington can really compress and get numbers in. You watch this as they get to the end of this set. Have a look at the shape of the Catalan Dragons as the wings go in and try and relieve a bit of pressure with those early carries.
Paul Ayton out there, Michael McAlorum having a rest. Greg Bird a few moments ago trying to inspire his sides. Referee says there's a Warrington knock-on there.
Well, they were desperate for that one. It was Ben Westwood. His experience taught him that maybe he could get the ball free here. There were so many players around him pushing up in support. I thought at first it was a knock-on from the Dragons, but they get their hands on the ball here, and they need it.
Ben Westwood still out there, 36 years of age. He's started 5 in a row in his 20th Super League season.
Is he the oldest in Super League now?
Yep, the oldest statesman. He played when these sides met in Barcelona in that historic match. Ben Westwood played in that in 2009 in front of a Catalan record crowd.
Move, Joe!
Warrington won that.
Go, well done, Chris, well done.
Memorable day. He's Louis Anderson, former Warrington Wolf. Louis Anderson, he's now played more for the Catalan Dragons than he did in his Warrington days.
Bird's lost the ball there now. This is a problem, and it went from bad to worse for the Dragons. Confidence growing now, and you can tell the Warrington side are really buzzing. Everyone wants the ball, nobody's scared of being around it.
Toby King skips infield. Joe Philbin off the bench and into action. Darryl Clark is dominating proceedings out there. Steve Price bringing the changes. Ben Murdoch-Masila out there as well. So they're really looking forward to ram home their advantage at the moment, aren't they?
Yeah, they're on top. The egg's cracking, isn't it? The Catalan Dragons, and they want to stomp all over it. And they send some more points coming. The Dragons, the key thing they should have done, and Greg Bird has ended up trying to break the tackle and produce an offload, was complete that set and put the ball out of play, give their forward pack a rest. That's Murdoch-Masila's first involvement, trying to make a mush out of Greg Bird.
So the referee continues with play. Greg Bird really does put his body on the line for the Catalan club. Roberts has to just pause to grab that ball as it drifted across in front of him.
Yeah, change being made in the Dragons' defence as well. Ayton on, he's just round the legs now. When the ball comes back into the Catalan Dragons' possession, maybe a bit of spark around the ruck now.
Brown. Here's Goodwin now. Goodwin trying to find a way through and very nearly does. Lynham. Clark away from him and he signals to Jack Hughes to come the other direction. Hughes takes the ball, takes the tackle. That's the 5th tackle. Clark running the show. Brown dinks the kick across field. Brown will climb up for it. Murdoch-Masila on the field, only a few minutes. Dodged the ball down and have the Warrington Wolves got another try. Chris Kendall, the referee, reckons they have. He just wants to know if that ball went backwards from Mitch Brown.
Yeah, it's something that Brown's been noted for. Seen a couple of these already this year. And it's the cross-field kick. When it eventually did come, Darrell Clark was setting up position.
Gone back a long way here, Ben. John, you're going to have to be patient here with this. The video referee wanted to make sure he got well prepared.
There you go, look at the preparation from Kevin Brown. He's acknowledged to the guys outside him there's a kick coming. Murdoch-Masila is incredibly close to being offside at the point of the kick. I don't think there's a problem with the tap back from Brown. But look at the point of the kick here, very, very close.
They've scored several times from this sort of play this season. You saw them do it on Sky against Widnes. I think they've done it again here now against the Catalan Dragons. And this 10 will go, I think, now to 14.
Ben Murdoch-Masila has got his first try in the colours of the Warrington Wolves. He has, and they have extended their leads. And a superb, accurate kick from Kevin Brown and disconsolate Steve McNamara, his Catalan Dragons side. Really second best in this game so far to a fired-up Warrington Wolves team. Ben Murdoch-Masila signed from the Salford Red Devils, and he was there when Brown batted that ball down.
Well, the Warrington coach made a tactical decision to change things this week. He had Murdoch-Masila as a sub, making an impact when he came onto the field, and that's of course what he has done.
Well, when Warrington have won this season, the only two times they've won, Murdoch-Masila has come off the bench rather than starting, which is what's happened today, only because I think initially he was supposed to start and then Dom Crosby was not selected, and Murdoch-Masila finds himself coming off the bench, which he's done, and he's come up with the try, and Bryson Goodwin has missed the conversion.
It's a beautiful kick from Kevin Brown. He sticks it right on Lewis Tierney's head. There's a height mismatch anyway between Mitch Brown and Lewis Tierney. And then Murdoch-Masila's following up. He's the fresh legs on the field, and he reacts the quickest and dots the ball down. Why wouldn't you have him off the bench? It's a different, adds a different facet to the game. When you come off the bench, fatigue is setting in. Guys have already been bashed around a bit. Oh, it's well recovered there. It's come off a Warrington Wolves' foot. Mitch Brown, I think, maybe he's recovered.
14-0 then, Warrington Wolves lead it in Perpignan. Looking for their third win of the season.
It can sort of only go wrong for the Wolves here. They've got complete control of this game. Look, physically, they are dominating their opponents so much with and without the ball. It's a mismatch.
Here's Jack Hughes, named in the England Knights squad. And Warrington just inside their own half. Tyrone Roberts and Joe Philbin. Roberts having an influence on proceedings.
He's made about 5 or 6 metres after the ball, and then he dropped it at the end.
First one by Warrington.
Well, see Tony Guijo running in here now. He's trying to encourage his side and motivate them, bring some spark. They know they've been outplayed for almost half an hour. But they've got to find a way artificially here now to build some belief.
Lads, Max over here, please.
They're still in the contest.
Good start, Phil, would be to complete a set. Complete a set, get the ball off the field, or try, if you're close enough, and you can engage a decent kick chase, just to apply a bit of pressure. Every kick that Stefan Ratchford's taken, I mean, there's been a couple of bombs in there, but he's had plenty of space between him and any any pressure from a Catalan Dragon shirt.
Warrington with just the 2 wins so far this season. The wins coming against Widnes and against the Wigan Warriors on their return from Australia. So this would be a welcome third for Steve Price's team.
That's what they're good at, and that's what Paul Ayton brings them. A little bit of craft from dummy half, quick play the ball, hitting around the ruck now. Bousquet on as well.
Big Julien Bousquet seems to have been around for ages. He's still only 26. They get a penalty. Bousquet who gets the plaudits for his
Never
effort.
26. Never. I want to see a passport, Bill.
So the penalty for the Catalan Dragons sees Warrington retreating into territory they haven't seen much of so far in the opening half an hour of this game, their own 10 metres area.
Bousquet would have been one of those you played against in the under-11s who had a full beard and a six-pack then.
And hairier legs at 12 years of age.
Surrender!
Here's Garcia.
Stand!
Ben Garcia, Ben Westwood going toe-to-toe there. Can Catalan create something here? Bird ships it on. It's in with Ian Thornley now.
It was non-threatening line passing, wasn't it there? Warrington had that covered.
Sluggish from the Catalan Dragons. Tierney. Bird waiting for the pass, but no great momentum coming from the Catalan Dragons. Mikel Simon dealt with by Ben Westwood once again. 4 tackles gone. They drive it towards the posts again. It's very solid, unimaginative from the Catalan Dragons. Little grubber kick comes in from Bird. Too strong. And to restart on the 20.
Well, if you had to pick a man of the match,
I think he's down.
it is, and it's the pressure that was under from Darryl Clark. If you had to pick a man of the match after 30 minutes, I think the Warrington number 9 would probably win my vote. He's been fantastic, energetic, and delivering high quality with his play around as well, with and without the ball. It's brought the Catalan Dragons here. There we go. It's as if they've had a man sent off. They've found some spirit.
They're annoyed with the referee for failing to stop proceedings when their man was down, and now frustration is growing.
It was a late flailing arm from Fuad Yaha after the whistle had gone, and Tom Lynham has taken exception to that.
I think the French team needed it. We were asleep in this game.
Oh, and somebody's whacked Darryl Clark there, and Louis Anderson is not having any time for his former teammates. Well, some of them were his former teammates back in the day. Kevin Brown wonders what's going on, a look of mystification on his face. Lots of finger pointing going on. The original spark of it, I think, was the tackle on Lucas Albert, which upset Catalan players.
I don't think it was a late tackle on Albert, was it? I know he kicked the ball hard, it went over the ball line. Because of the pressure that Darryl Clark put him under the French side here. Now look, he's got them out on the feet.
And it was good pressure as well. Good pressure from the inside, forced him to square up his kick.
This is going to take the referee some time to sort this out.
Well, he's got Ben Thaler assisting him as video ref, and very experienced campaigner.
Behind the line, please. Behind the line, please. Behind the line.
Nothing wrong with that.
Tackle at all, is it?
Nothing wrong with that.
Behind the line.
No, he's committed to the tackle. His timing's right. His timing's good.
This is in slow motion. I think he makes contact while he's still got that ball, and he's not kicked the ball, has he? So he's allowed to make that tackle.
Captains!
Yeah, and you see the effect on that. It's really squared Lucas Albert up as he was rushed into the kick, and that's maybe the difference between Fuad Yaha being able to dot that ball down.
Greg, calm down, Greg. Calm down and go away.
You can hear Chris Kendall on the referee's mic telling Greg Bird to calm down.
Stand over there, stand over there.
As the whistle goes here, Fuad Yaha comes in on Tom Lynham. It may well be the next play. That's the initial response, and that's the response that the Dragons fans want. I think for the first time in this game, seeing a Warrington Wolves player going backwards. The whistle's blown about now. Look at that from Fuad Yaha. That's what's incensed Tom Lynham, who then goes searching for his opposite wingman, and that's probably the spark for everything we've seen afterwards.
I don't know how he's going to do it, but the referee's got to probably find 2 yellow cards here, one for either side. It seems the only way that he can attempt to influence and control what's happened there. But which two players do you give them to?
Did you actually see a punch thrown? It looked like sort of Morris dancing. I'm not suggesting that Morris dancing is an aggressive pastime.
Well, it goes downfield. There's something here with Tom Lynham and Fuad Yaha, and then
there's another little set two going on in the background as well, isn't there, between Mikel Simon and Kevin Brown.
Forward!
So this will be for the strike on Tom Lynham.
Well, yeah, it is who's going to get 10 minutes in the bin. That's happened to him before. The Wingster goes to the sidelines. He's 21 years of age for Yaha.
So give us the definition of Wingster. He's an official Wingster, is he, at 21?
He's a young winger, a Wingster. Wingster, excellent. Is that the one? Tom Lynham likewise. Not so young winger.
Barry McDermott he'll be up off his couch, pointing at the television screen with two wingers being yellow carded.
I think it's about the only thing though.
Players are then running in, okay, and that's like they sat down. Lynham's run after Yaha, and Yaha is hard tackle Lynham. That's it, no, that's it. Penalty to Warrington over there. That'll have to be watched after.
Chris Kendall explaining the reason for his decision to Kevin Brown and Greg Bird. Captains on the field. And ultimately the penalty goes to Warrington for that high tackle from Fuad Yaha. Thomas Bosk on the sideline.
This will be an interesting first carry.
Let's see if it makes any difference here to the Dragons and how they play. Have they got any more aggression? Can they meet the physical challenge that Warrington have thrown at them here, which they haven't for 30 minutes in my eyes?
Well, it's roused the Catalan crowd into life. Will it rouse the Catalan side? It was Cooper who had the honour of that first charge for Warrington, who lead by 14 points to 0. Here is Kevin Brown. Brown back in field to Jack Hughes.
You'd imagine Kevin Brown likes this situation. One less defender, more space, play with his passing ability. It comes to Roberts. Those two now will enjoy a bit more space.
They're trying to find some space on that right-hand side, the Warrington right-hand side. Ben Murdoch, Masilla, one of their try scorers in a dominant first half. Nice kick from Tyrone Roberts. And Lucas Albert, does well there, the youngster.
That's almost going to save the try here. Another goal line dropout could have given Warrington the possession and the chance to score. They've just about got over the try line. It's a brilliant play from him. And they're clinging on here, 14 points behind. Any more than that, and I think the contest could be over for the Dragons' perspective, but they're hanging on in this point here.
Look at the shape. This is what I was talking about before. It's allowed the Warrington Wolves, even with a man less on the field, the shape is terrible from the Dragons. There's nobody there giving them any width and making any Warrington Wolves edge defender be accountable. They could just compress. And look at that end of the tackle set, kicking from inside their own 40.
And Ratchford, as ever, is there to collect it. Looks very confident and comfortable. It was great earlier in the season when Warrington was stumbling at the start of the campaign. Stefan Ratchford's honesty was great when he said he was disappointed with his performances, and I think he said it's probably one of the worst games ever early on.
He was a little loose early on, picking up one-handed from the base of the ruck. Oh, he's away now, just collared by Simon. Oh, Albert, beg your pardon.
He's back in form now, is the Warrington fullback. Here's Ben Westwood. Westwood to Bryson Goodwin. Goodwin cutting back in field. Catalan struggling to cope with the Warrington onslaught here. Well, that's the first stray pass that Darryl Clark's come up with. And Roberts has to retrieve it and not able to make as much of it, and Tierney claims it.
Good catch by the winger, Lewis Tierney. And the pressure, but just look again how quickly this Warrington's had. Their determination and focus is impressive. Back on side and getting up out of the box as quickly as they can.
Here is Bousquet, Jack Hughes, Mike Cooper involved in the tackle, and Ben Westwood. Bird, little step from him, good work from Bird, finds Gigot, Gigot puts his foot on the gas, then puts a little grubber kick in, but nobody chasing, Louis Anderson the closest, and it's Clark who bats the ball dead.
It's the first thing that they've given the whole fans to cheer about. A break by Greg Bird, he has looked dangerous, gaps opening up here. Less than 5 to go to half-time. Obviously a bit of fatigue sets in with some players. He's exploited that. He stepped inside the substitute, actually. Ben Murdoch-Masilla, that was a weak attempted tackle from him. Turned an arm. And then the kick goes through, and they will force a goal line dropout, get the ball back again.
I'll tell you what I like about that in particular. Greg Bird's made the break, but Tony Gigot, who's experienced at full-back, has come from the right centre. He's not getting enough ball. He's gone in search of it. That's a really positive move. He knows that Greg Bird's got that left foot step, and he's supported on the right-hand side of him. Best passage of play so far from the Dragons.
Who forced the goal line dropouts. And can they find a way through this thus far impressive Warrington defence before half-time? More good work to drive Mikel Simon back. Here is Bousquet now. Two tackles gone. Aiton looks at Bird, I think it was, and says, well, come on, what are we doing? What are we doing?
Stay square. Wait, go first.
It's Aiton again. Oh, dear me, that's scrappy from the Dragons, and Mead it is who salvages it. Bird points him in a forward direction, and he gives it to Louis Anderson.
This is where they miss Luke Walsh, the organisational skills of an experienced half. It's an attacking set in good position that's basically just petered out.
It's been five of the 6 players have gone there now, that really with a threat.
They haven't, and they'll at least look for another set on the end of this. Bird's kick comes in, and Brown very well judged, and Warrington see off the threat, if you could call it a threat.
Yeah, disappointing for the Catalan Dragons there. The inaccuracy of some of the passes and the lack of organisation or plan, really, in that situation.
And usually from a set piece, such as a dropout or a penalty.
It was a dangerous tackle as he landed very awkwardly. Stop the clock. There's the kick at the end of the set. Just too much weight on it.
And usually
Thornley coming through, but it's already gone over the dead ball line by the time he gets there.
There's a lot on Greg Bird's shoulders, isn't there? Because he has to do so much for the side. He's got to inspire them. He very often tops the tackle count. He's got to put the kicks in.
He has got a huge weight of experience, but then he's experienced at the highest level as well. You look at Paul Aiton again there, hand at his ear, what's the call, where are we going? Normally from these set-piece restarts, penalties, dropouts, any team in attack will have their first 3 or 4 plays, or even the whole set, preordained, pre-organised, something that they will have practiced on the training field. We saw none of that from the Dragons. And we're looking again at the restart.
Well, it's a dangerous tackle, isn't it? Is he lifted, hands between the legs? I think at this point here now, Louis Anderson picks him up, and then he's spun into an awkward position. That penalty kick to touch has got them just onto the halfway line.
Our host broadcaster has gone through that countless times. Meanwhile, Warrington had a penalty as a result of that dangerous tackle, and so we're now into Catalan territory. And it could be Warrington who look to finish off this first half with additional points. They lead by 14-0 already. Both the sides with a man in the sin bin. Here is Philbin. Aiton down low. Mikel Simon up top. And referee Chris Kendall just tells Joe Philbin to get on with it. Stop milking the situation. Little kick. Good one from Brown into the corner. And Mead deciding not to go for it. Remy Casti pacing on the sidelines. We've seen a lot with the Catalan Dragons, but this certainly at the moment is not pretty.
It's another completed set though from the Warrington Wolves. I mean, they've not been playing anywhere near their best either. Let's put this in perspective. The Warrington Wolves have won the first half and won it convincingly, and will be in control and will be favourites to take the 2 points. But you know, this is not an impressive or commanding performance by any stretch. It's just the Catalan Dragons have been incredibly poor.
Movement, get square, go one.
Well, can they pull their socks up in what remains of this game? Second half to come. but it is going to have to be a massive transformation from the Dragons, who've struggled all season. They struggled to their first win, 18-16, against Hull Kingston Rovers last time out. There's a lack of confidence about the Catalan play as Mead plays that ball. Conditions, again, not great in Perpignan. Early season conditions across the board have not been great. As Lucas Albert hoists that kick towards Mitch Brown, it is. The ball's knocked forward by Thornley, and Warrington will bring it away.
Well, Steve McNamara has delivered many half-time talks in his career as a coach. But with less than a minute to go here, he's been preparing a very important one here now. The referee has stopped the clock. You saw a sense of urgency here now from the Catalan Dragons.
It's a turnover, guys. 2 markers.
He's actually said it's a knock-on. He's gone back, hasn't he, and corrected himself, sorry. Because of the knock-on by the Catalan Dragons, it's a turnover.
On me.
And Steve McNamara, as we say, with less than a minute to go, got to come up with some brilliant advice here for his team to find a way to change what we've been watching for 40 minutes.
Hold. Go on.
Steve Warrington, who dominated this first half virtually from the word go. And Steve Price's goal, or one of them, when he took over the job, was to tighten a defence that was very leaky. It conceded an average of 4.2 tries and 24 points a game last season, the Warrington Wolves. Well, they've got through half a game here without conceding anything, and they've got a penalty, and they've pushed the Catalan Dragons back. Still got time if they want. Little chip ahead, and it's batted over the dead ball line before Reichford can get on the end of it. There is the Catalan Dragons coach. Look of concern on his face. There is the half-time hooter, and Warrington Wolves will be very happy with that first half. They have dominated proceedings, and they lead by 14 points to 0. Ben Westwood has been there from the word go, the old stager, the Peter Pan of Super League. The Catalan Dragons looking dejected. They've got a lot to do in the second half.
Shoulder into the ribs and then leg drive from that point.
Howdy! You want some help?
Are you sure that's the right amount? Fine,
Thank you so much.
Oh, that's good. Still got some money left. Whoa! Ooh-wee. All of it?
All of it.
Most of it.
Get most of it. Try and keep something in the A's, baby.
That's a drive-out win. Like saving carloads of cash at Confused.com.
I hate to ask, but is there any chance of an upgrade?
Any chance of an upgrade?
Upgrade, pretty please. Look into my eyes.
Could be twins.
Have you thought about being a model?
Don't upgrade your seat, upgrade your airline. Fly Emirates, the best economy class in the world.
Trevor.
Yeah?
Winston Wolf, you're a private landlord, right? And your tenants are in a tough financial situation. They can't pay their rent, which is keeping you up at night.
Yeah, but
you're with Direct Line. They'll repay any unpaid rent until the tenants are out. So relax, Trevor. It's time for me to put you to sleep. Coco?
Dulux Easy Care with hard-wearing formula. Stays the way you painted it. Now available for the bathroom and kitchen. Dulux Easy Care with hard-wearing formula. Stays the way you painted it.
You haven't seen the sun in like forever, so you search for a beach holiday. Sunny beaches, sandy beaches, big beaches, small beaches, until you're lost, searching for surfing dogs. But then you find Home Away, and they search millions of homes to find you the perfect beach villa, where you all find your own rooms and a barbecue bigger than your kitchen at home. And you find that watching the love of your life teach the kids how to dive warms your heart even more than the sun. From villas to cottages to apartments, find homes that match you at Home Away.
Feel the power of movies. Add Sky Cinema for just £10 a month.
Joe Root, he's the man they came to watch. Williamson, big player. What a beauty!
Which test maestro will orchestrate a winning performance?
Bowled it in, brilliant.
England on tour face New Zealand in the first test. Live on Sky Sports Cricket.
You've got to grind the team down.
There's more live action to come on Sky Sports tomorrow from the Championship. Big game this as Derby County take on Cardiff City. 11:30 a.m. for that on Sky Sports Football. And same channel at 2:15 for Motherwell against Celtic from the Scottish Premiership. And from League One, Doncaster take on Bradford at 7:30 p.m. on Sky Sports Football. And that is on Monday night. So 2 games tomorrow and then Doncaster-Bradford Monday. Second half to come in Perpignan, where the Warrington Wolves lead the Catalan Dragons by 14 points to 0. Brown, Clark, Murdoch, Masilla, the try scorers. Goodwin just the one conversion attempt so far. Catalan, little if any threat for them. It has been Warrington Wolves' game so far.
First points came from a passing play. Look, more than half of the team involved with this. A wave of Warrington players before the ball gets to Mitch Brown in the right wing, and it's a well-timed pass there from the 2 outside backs to give the right winger the time and space to put the first 4 points on the board. Then Darryl Clark, the acting halfback, who'd passed the ball to Kevin Brown. Look at his enthusiasm to get up and involved, but he was deemed to be within inside 10, so it was a penalty. No real goal line dropout of pressure there. He's up, involved within the 10 metres as Fuad Yah, under pressure from Lynham and Bryson Goodwin, forced the ball over the dead ball line before he could even score. It's already out of play. But Darryl Clark then seized on a later opportunity, as Matt Parcell did for Leeds this weekend. Darryl Clark's done similar. He's done hard and low, close to the line, bounced through the defenders and grounded for the second Warrington try. 10-0 at that time.
And then we'll take you forward to the 26th minute. Kevin Brown kicks to his namesake, Mitch Brown, tap back. You'll see more of that this season. Ben Murdoch Masilla, fresh on the field, dots down for 2. There's a height mismatch there, isn't there, between Brown and Tierney. And we had to wait until the 35th minute of that first half for reasons for optimism. Bird with a break, Gigo on the inside. The single best passage of play from the Catalan Dragons. Will they build on that in the second half?
Well, it is going to have to be a massive improvement from the Catalan Dragons to wrest the game from the grip of the Warrington Wolves, who lead at half-time by 14 points to 0. The Wolves looking for their 3rd win of the season to get back in the winners' enclosure. And the way things have been going so far, they are very much on course for that. And the Catalan Dragons really are going to have to come up with something special. You can find out if they can after the break.
Join the thousands, already saving thousands selling their homes with eMove. Join the e-movement at emove.co.uk.
Spring offers are just around the corner with Amazon's early Easter sale. From this Monday, you can make savings with loads of great offers across every department. So you can spend your bank holiday doing the stuff you really love. The Amazon early Easter sale starts Monday.
just got to let me finish this, right?
No.
What? I can't hear you. What? What? What's that? I don't know. All right, I'm gone.
Maybe I can roll with mine.
Pause and carry on in another room with Sky Q, the next generation box.
Sky Q for the next generation box, so you can record 6 shows and still enjoy a 7th. There's also 1,000 hours of storage for when you want to kick back and catch up. And if someone's beaten you to the couch, you can move from room to room, TV to TV. You can even download recordings for when you're out and about. Get the best Sky Q experience for just £12 extra a month.
And after a scintillating innings, the batsman nears his century. That's absolutely splendid. I say, a streaker and a rozzer. Goodness me, what a chase. I wonder if the rozzers will catch up with them. And what about this? I say, that's much better, isn't it? And what a shot. Oh, and he's hit the streaker. My goodness me, he'll have a bruise. And there's 6 it is. Good heavens. Red Bull gave him wings, all right.
Available to buy and keep in Sky Store now.
There are enemies coming from far away. The world needs Superman. This is crazy. Fighting the devil and his army.
Stop right there. I'm in.
Watch it straight from the cinema.
How many of you are there? Not enough.
So what are your superpowers again?
I'm rich.
Buy and keep Justice League on digital and add the DVD from $9.99 in Sky Store.
The treasury's being robbed.
Listen, lady, we're about to be crushed by the biggest storm of the century. I don't think you know what that means. Hell of a day, ain't it?
That was an absolute wicked kick, that.
Versus West Hull.
James Webster, he's gone for it, he's got it! The greatest Hull derby comeback in the Super League era.
They're all coming in. This is unbelievable. Flannel's lost total control. Second try for Inu. There is the man, Ben Barber. It's a hat-trick for Jake Momo.
Yes, a busy Easter programme to look forward to here on Sky Sports. It all starts on Thursday, March the 29th with Wakefield against Castleford at 7:30 on Sky Sports Arena for that. Then on Good Friday, a double-header. Well, what a double-header it is. The return of the Hull derby as Hull Kingston Rovers take on Hull FC from 12:45 on Arena and main event for that on Good Friday. Followed at 3, same channels for St Helens against Wigan. And then Easter Monday brings you the Widnes Vikings against St Helens, 3 o'clock on Arena and main event. And followed at 5 by the Catalan Dragons against the Huddersfield Giants. Arena and main event for that one. So that's a busy Easter weekend to look forward to. Energy-sapping Easter weekend for the players. Energy-sapping conditions in Perpignan. It's really taking its toll, slippery, it's wet. We saw as the players came off at half-time, the rain falling, but Warrington Wolves making the best of it, leading by 14 points to 0 and looking to maintain their grip on this game, and really no sign of that grip being loosened, certainly not so far.
Just that one bright spot, as fleeting as it was on the 35th minute, with Greg Bird and Tony Gigot combining. And what they've got to do first is try and complete the set in precious little time in the opposition half. I don't think it's the right time of the year for guys like David Mead, maybe even Tony Gigot. When the ground's firm up, they'll show their worth. They just need to get through a couple of sets at the start of this, and that starts with a good defensive set of 6 and restricting the Warrington Wolves meters, but it hasn't looked promising, you're right, Bill.
But by the time the grounds firm up and the likes of Mead and Gigot are able to show their talent, the Catalan Dragons could be adrift at that wrong end of the table. Warrington Wolves hope that by that time they're very much in the top 8 mix, and they're hoping that if they can see this through, that's where they will, well, that is where they will be if they can see this through. And surely in the second half it's going to be the same again for Steve Price, because it was very effective from his team in that first 40 minutes. They have possession at the start of this second half. Both sides, I think, still with a man in the bin. Tom Lynham for Warrington, Fuad Yaha, his opposite number. So as John said, 2 wingers in the sin bin. Here is Ben Westwood. As Warrington move into Catalan territory, and then Brown finds the space to put the kick in, and Mead is underneath it. Both the fullbacks, Mead and Ratchford, have been very impressive.
And they've been tested with some quality kicks, aren't they? Anytime you're going to start a set within your own 10-metre zone, I think the opposition are relatively happy. Obviously happy if you make a mistake like that shortly after it too, I suppose, because you've got them under pressure. And a handling error there by Lewis Tierney, the winger.
I've got issues with this, because Lewis Tierney, on the one hand, you can look and go, that's a really positive contribution, because he's come from 40 metres away on his other wing. But what he's done in doing that, given that none of the centres or back rowers have moved out and tried to at least display some kind of shape from the Dragons, is that he's actually working against himself. The left winger has gone 40 metres and coming off the ruck against a really compressed Warrington defence. The eyes have come off the ball. There's your first mistake. That's Fuad Yaha's carry all day long.
So they concede possession at the start of this second half, dangerously close to their own try line, and Warrington will look to punish them now. Here is Jack Hughes. Hughes just drives it in. Warrington keeping it simple but effective. Short pass finds Chris Hill, and Hill driving to the line. He's held up just short. Ayton again, good work from him down low to stop Hill's progress. Brown, little pass from Brown. Murdoch-Masila gets a second. Ben Murdoch-Masila gets a second. Greg Bird shouts in fury at his teammates, but in front of those Warrington Wolves supporters at that end of the ground, Warrington have struck again, and there is no let-up for the Catalan Dragons. A Big Ben strikes again for the Warrington Wolves.
You could summarise this game by saying that Warrington have run harder when they've had the ball and tackled stronger without it. And that's a perfect example here, isn't it? There's just too much determination in that big run. There's a gap between the defenders. Maybe there's a question mark about whether they had enough numbers on that side of the field. But the determination there from Ben Murdoch-Masila, close to the opponent's line, is very difficult to stop. Very, very difficult. Centellas did a remarkable job on him last week, holding him out several times. But the Catalan Dragons aren't able to, and the first try of the second half goes to the Warrington Wolves.
Tongan international Ben Murdoch-Masila making the most of that error from the Catalan Dragons. You can see the rain swirling around the Gilbert Brutus. Difficult conditions, but Warrington have managed them well, and Bryson Goodwin, with the conversion, extends Warrington's lead, and Catalan really up against it now.
Yeah, it was a good line from Ben Murdoch-Masila, but don't underestimate just that extra half a step, and the shot that Kevin Brown wears for doing that. He's played at the line today. He was playing at the line for the first try of the evening, accredited to Mitch Brown. He played at the line again. That's one of his real strengths for Kevin Brown, and out the Dragons in a hole now.
What a time to bag a brace. He'll be delighted with that.
Warrington fans still waiting to see maybe the best of Ben Murdoch-Masila, who had such a great season with Salford last year. But he's got 2 tries as they head for victory in Perpignan. Catalan went into this game looking for back-to-back wins for the first time at home in nearly 2 years. They ain't going to get them.
It's the detail that's missing from the Catalan Dragons. A lot of coaches talk about the basics, and then you talk about the detail. It's what they're doing, or what they're not doing, rather, in the tackle. Warrington Wolves would have won probably 90% of the collisions this evening. When they're going into contact, on this occasion Chris Hill's come out of it on the wrong side, but he still managed to find elbows and knees dominant. That means he's got down under the opposition. You look at the lack of detail in this. So Simon's up around the ball, there's a man in half lazy in around the ball at the bottom, laying on rather than actually trying to manoeuvre the player and slow him down.
He's arguably the best prop in the world, though. If you look in the World Cup final, the ground he gained in that match, the metres he made.
No, that's the example we're given. You can look at another 20 examples of this. I think they've been incredibly poor and consistently. That's actually one of the better ones that Ayton's got involved in, and he's very lucky not to give a penalty away.
And Ayton suggesting that Jack Hughes gets to his feet, but it was difficult for Hughes, because Ayton was standing right over him. Well claimed by David Mead.
I know, it's a success if Catalan come up with the ball. It's that difficult, isn't it? The pressure that they're under.
And they get the penalty. Ooh, that's a welcome whistle from referee Kendall. Catalan, it's going to have to be a spectacular change in approach from them if they're going to turn this game around now.
Oh, we have seen games of rugby, particularly ones in the south of France where the Dragons come from behind. It will be, they'll have to score, they'll need an element of luck. But the first points could be the key.
If they can break the Warrington defence, which has dealt with what's come its way so far. Here they are now, the Catalan Dragons. Well, that's an offload. It bounces off Albert. Play on, says the referee. Wasn't a knock-on. And Albert, very cheekily, just smuggles that ball behind his back.
And once again, what it is, it's the breakdown in that attacking set. All balls played before the line, not committing any defenders, and now this is ad-lib stuff.
Here is Greg Bird. Bird flings the pass away to Ayton. Ayton gets it to Garcia. They're going backwards, hounded by the Warrington defenders. Tyrone Roberts makes the tackle. Philbin in there as well. Benjamin Julian is on there in the blue scrum cap. Kick comes cross-field. The ball ends up in the hands of Bryson Goodwin.
It's going to be a 20-metre restart.
And it's a 20-metre restart because it was, in fact, a Catalan knock-on.
Well, it's not far off being a try, is it? If Fuad Yaha had taken it in, falls down. There's 4 points on the board here.
There's an argument on the counter side to say that's a penalty for offside. I didn't see an obvious hand there from Fuad Yaha, and Lynham, it's come off forward into Bryson Goodwin's hands, so they've had an element of luck there as well.
Yeah, not according to the referee, though. He made the live call, didn't he? He said it was a knock-on from Fuad Yaha, even though it did appear the ball went in the opposite direction to what he was claiming. He could have gone Yaha onto Lynham and then forward that way. That was perhaps his interpretation.
They're not making their own luck, but they're not getting any luck either.
Sim Binners are back on then, Fuad Yaha and Tom Lynham at the bottom of your screen there. After their involvement in that first half fracas. 4 tackles gone for the Warrington Wolves, who lead by 20 points to 0. Just the one try and goal in the second half so far. Here is Roberts, loops that ball across field to Bryson Goodwin. Goodwin gets the pass away to Jack Hughes. Hughes gets away from Gigot. Benjamin Julian, teammate of his last year, makes the tackle. That's the 5th tackle. Brown dinks the ball over the top. Well collected by Mead. Made that look so easy, but it's wet, slippery out there. The ball's slithering across the ground, but the PNG international just swept that up.
Well, you can tell with Warrington's mentality, they want to attack even when they don't have the ball. And that's a real positive sign because they're putting their opponents under so much pressure here. Look, they kept them within the 10-metre zone there. 3 players already gone.
Really struggling to make any headway, the Catalan Dragons now. Got to be weary as well. I mean, it's energy-sapping conditions. They've done a heck of a lot of defending.
Well, it looks to me as though Warrington have decided this is a season-defining match here. We're going down to Perpignan and we're going to play with everything we've got. Here the ball comes through and it's into Clark.
Catalan contributing to their own downfall. Akuala is on the field, off the bench, fresh legs, and whistles and catcalls from the Catalan supporters, I think I heard a moment ago. Clark has time to pirouette, change the direction. And Catalan really have been at times their own worst enemy in this game.
Go third.
Clark, short pass, Akuala again. He's held, cries the referee. Casti wrestling with him. Clark might fancy a second. Short pass to Ben Westwood. Westwood wrapped up by the Catalan defenders. That's the 5th tackle. Brown, little pass from him. Bryson Goodwin couldn't take it. And a bit of a communication breakdown there between Brown and Lynham by the look of things.
Well, they still return, even though it was a disappointing end for Tom Lynham and Kevin Brown. They still turn the ball over where I suppose they'd be happy. 90 metres from their own try line. Thibaut Marjolais here carries it forward. It's hard, isn't it, now for any of the Dragons? Doesn't seem like any support players. It's one-man runs. Solo efforts to try and get forward.
Go free.
Really struggling, Catalan now. Conditions not easy. Ayton to Benjamin Julian now. Had a good season as a Warrington player last year, Benjamin Julian. 3 tries in 23 appearances in 2017, and that's Ratchford. That's probably the first decent kick that Catalan have put in all game, isn't it?
Much better kick, great chase from Tierney, it's enthusiastic. What's the #1 rule here is do not give away any metres through conceding a penalty. They'll be keen to restrict metres, but they only need to be 8 out of 10 off the mark. They don't need to be racing up and even risking conceding a penalty. They're halfway through the count already. This is the best as it's been for the Dragons.
Go for.
4 tackles gone, and Warrington still pinned down deep in their territory. That ball's knocked on. And that's the first sort of sloppy phase from Warrington in the game.
You see, I think it's still in there. I think that is still in there with the Warrington Wolves. I don't think they've completely overcome what's gone on in the early parts of the season. It's just they've come up against some really underperforming opposition today in the Dragons. You know, there's still some fix-ups in that Warrington Wolves team yet.
Let's go, Warrington.
The rain pouring down in southwest France. It's the snow that's falling, of course, in the north of England, the southwest of England as well. The mini beast back for the weekend by the sound of things. It's just wet and not particularly pleasant in Perpignan, but it's pretty pleasant if you're a Warrington Wolves supporter. Those Wolves fans won't mind. 52 minutes on the clock, their side leads by 20 points to 0, but Catalan enjoying a bit of possession at the moment. Warrington having to defend as Thornley comes across field, tries to find a gap in that Warrington line. That's the 3rd tackle. They're back on their own goal line as Busquet bustles towards the line. Hill among the tacklers there. Busquet does the dying swan. Bird will go over. Greg Bird, has he got a way back into this game for his side? Referee hasn't awarded the try, says no try. Obstruction is the call. The rain now really is hammering down.
Well, it's a simple approach from Greg Bird. He knows that the easiest way to get over is to go hard on his own. Julien Busquet gets him close to the try line. 3 defenders hold him up. There's no way he's going to crash over from that point. The referee called held. And then, you see, Ben Garcia goes through. He makes contact with Akuala. Does he obstruct him? Does he continue to run through that?
It's Murdoch Masilla that's been hit and then has ended up over-chasing on the outside. It's significant, I think, that this call has been ruled no try on the field.
And it's a very quick decision from Ben Thaler as well. Surely no try is going to be the answer from the referee. No try, it was obstruction.
Ben, here. Back. I need you all behind the ball.
Garcia just got in the wrong spot.
Yeah.
Michael McAlorum must have picked up a knock, because we've not seen him since very early in the game. Ayton has had a lot of game time.
That has been the policy, though, that he's maybe expect to see him. Well, I'm preempting something here. He'll be injured, won't he? But he'd started games and finished games, and Paul Ayton's the man who plays the bulk of that in between either side of half-time. So let's hope from a Dragons perspective that it is a substitute policy and not an injury.
Mitch, wait.
Well, they could do with him on the field. Why not get both of them out there? They've done that before.
Well, there have been 4 halves of matches this season where Catalan has failed to score a single try. Especially the first half of this one is one of those. They really are struggling out there to get over their opponent's try line. And even when they are there, it's been ruled out.
Yeah, Greg Bird denied. And Warrington breathed a sigh of relief. That was the closest they've come to conceding points in this game. Here is Hill, and Hill working like a Trojan for his team again. Draining conditions. And then Darryl Clark, like a dagger, thrust into that wounded Dragon side. The ball is hoisted. Mead waiting for it. Couldn't get there because Warrington have claimed it.
Leave the ball, Toby. Leave the ball.
Toby King was underneath it, but couldn't smuggle the pass away, and Catalan escaped there.
Look at Tom Lynham. Look at his position. He's on the right hand upright. Now that's a 30-metre area, and you've got 12 of your 13 Warrington Wolves covering that area for the first couple of tackles, and that's why the Catalan Dragons are not finishing sets anywhere. Why? Because the Catalan Dragons shape themselves is shocking.
The referee blows the pee out of the whistle there as Catalan get the penalty.
Similar penalty to the one we saw at the end of last week's game for the Catalan Dragons, but I don't think the penalty will make a difference there. He's failed to find touch, and Mitch Brain's tapped the ball back in play.
Well, that just compounds the Catalan errors, the latest of them. Catalan, they've had a very good run of games at home, in fact. 4 of their first 6 at home, and yet they haven't capitalised on that advantage. And now they've got to go away for their next 2 against Hull and Salford. So it's a very difficult phase coming up for them.
And Hull, a team licking the wounds after some poor results recently, and Salford, many people spectate.
Goodwin just carves his way through there. And then Kevin Brown couldn't take the pass. Okay, it was a bit high, but the defence just melted there.
It was nice play, wasn't it? Shifting the ball to Bryson Goodwin, who looks like, as the year goes on, if Warrington keep him fit and healthy, he could be equally as dangerous as a Callum Watkins or a Mark Percival are for their clubs.
You mentioned their next opponents, Hull FC and Salford, they'll be looking at that and going, there's going to be some opportunities. Particularly Salford, who many people feel will be around the same end of the table as the Catalan Dragons. They'll see that, and they'll be full of enthusiasm about the prospects of facing the Dragons in the coming weeks.
Have to say that conditions obviously in Perpignan are very difficult for these two sides, and Kevin Brown unable to take that pass. The rain is hammering down, and another penalty.
Well, this will be the only disappointment now for Steve Price and the Warrington setup. They've had complete control here, but can they continue to put in an 80-minute performance? It's been good for 55. Conceding penalties was one of their key goals, I guess, this week. They wanted to reduce that. It's been affecting them. They've given too many away and invited the opponents into their half. But up until this point, they've been pretty impressive.
Catalan having to travel for their next 2 games. Warrington at home. They've got Wakefield in round 7, and that's followed by Widnes at home. A knock-on from the Dragons. Look at the rain hammering down in Perpignan, and it does, when it comes in off the mountains, it gets very, very soggy.
No one's pretending that we were expecting open flowing rugby, but I think from a Dragons perspective, what we've seen now, lack of detail in defence and organisation in attack, and there are mitigating circumstances, we've covered those already, but the amount of times we've seen the Dragons getting themselves into an attacking position and then Paul Ayton looking round from dummy half asking what's going on. And that's happening all too often, all too frequently. Attacking plays just breaking down in front of them.
Warrington coming up to the hour mark, leading by 20 points to 0. Heading back home after this game to the snowy northwest. But the way things are going, they'll be heading back home with the points and feeling good about life when they look at that Super League table in the morning, which will see them in the top 8. Here is Ben Westwood. I'm not sure he's had a breather. I don't think Ben Westwood has left the field since the word go.
Nice reverse kick there for Ratchford. It's going to sit in the in-goal area.
And they're going to have to concede another set of 6 here. Water, we got enough of that. McAlorum still there.
Sambo, I'm not sure if he wants to get out to that dugout.
Michael McAlorum's had a tricky start to life in Perpignan with injury.
That's not what Wolves fans signed up for, was it, when they thought the trip to Perpignan was coming? But they'll be happy with the win. They'll return home happy, and it's looking increasingly likely that the Warrington Wolves are going to do that.
Well, they say that the sport shifted to become a summer sport 20 plus years ago. I think the opening 6 rounds haven't felt very summery, and being able to play in these conditions has been a test. Maybe no more so for people like Tyrone Roberts, who came over from Australia. Probably watched the videos of Super League when it was a hot sunny day. He's had to cope and adapt.
Let's hope for a better Easter. Hope that spring finally sprungs. Eventually we're going to get a goal line dropout. Not sure what the delay was for. Really, you don't want to be hanging around too long in these conditions. Warrington have it back.
We saw great passing play for it to first try the match from a goal line dropout. They worked to one side and then created. Look where Ratchford will be. He's usually involved in when they shift the ball. Mike Cooper then gets him to centre field. Offload from him to Clark. They're happy to keep the ball alive now, I suppose. No pressure on them with a 20-point advantage.
Mind you, there could be at Wakefield, where apparently the snow is falling. Their game on this evening.
Get square! Back weight. Go third.
Warrington about 12 metres out. Roberts drifts the ball on. Good hands. Mitch Brown, though, is tackled by Tierney.
On me.
Garcia there to assist him.
Go
Murdoch Nasilla, 2 tries to his name.
5.
King, 5 tackles gone.
Hold.
Clark, who's really run the show, and King has got. There's a hand in there. I don't think that's why he's not getting to his feet. You can see that eye puffed up. That's since early on in the game.
I think the referee's penalising for catching with the head. Is it contact with the head?
There was a swinging arm. They're going to go for 2 points. Well, they lost Jason Baitieri to suspension for this one. Fuad Yaha has been sin-binned already. I wonder if there's going to be more bad disciplinary news coming their way.
They're trying to take as long as they can, I think, out with this kick. They'd like to put the clock on fast forward and make it roll from 60 to 70. They're happy with the hours work they've done in.
Very different to what we saw at last night's game at St Helens, Saints against Leeds. From the other end of the table, my word, what a contest that was.
Well, Warrington will be hoping, though, that they can work their way up the table. You know what? We were asked, John and I, at the start of the season, as were Barry and Terry, to predict where we thought each team would finish. I'm not embarrassed to say I thought the Warrington Wolves were going to finish second at the end of 23 rounds, but I've not looked as though I've had any idea of getting that anywhere near right, unless the Wolves can change, and maybe this is the springboard to their season launch here now. A good win in the south of France. You spend time with one another after the match. A win away from home there on the furthest journey. Gives them time to enjoy one another's company.
Goodwin has missed with that. He's not had his best day with the boot, but it's, again, conditions difficult. Not as difficult as Wakefield, where apparently the game is underway in a blizzard. They've swept the lines. They're playing with an orange ball. I think we should take this game to summer. I think that would be a radical move. Play it in the summer months.
Steady on, Bill. I don't think they can handle such innovation. Short kick-off attempt. Recovered by Darrell Clark. Time blown off again.
Clark's got a whack there as somebody came slithering in.
Well, he bobbles backwards, doesn't it, for him? There's no knock on. And then Remy Casti back on the field. He's trying his best, but it's too late to get the ball. Missed kick from Lucas Albert. Only goes probably half the distance he intended. And rain and conditions are terrible.
It's his back of his head that he's holding, or the back of his ear. He's been one of the better players for the Warrington Wolves.
So is he. Gets a rest. There's Ben Westwood. Clark is back on his feet.
Space blankets are out again. There's an indication of the conditions these guys are coping with at the moment. The Warrington Wolves will be just looking to close this out now. No more risks taken. Forget the extravagant football. Complete sets, put the ball in the corner, put the ball out of play.
I beg to differ, John. I know the terrible weather, but don't they need to develop some attacking play, some support play?
Well, how can you in these conditions?
Well, that's what they're trying to do here. Look, they've get it to Ratchford.
I also think there's stages to this Warrington Wolves recovery or development. I don't think you can go from what we've seen from them in the opening 5 games or opening 6 games of this season, then immediately jump into top gear. The vintage of 2015
under a new coach.
It's going to take some time. Now, I think that's appreciated, and Wolves fans do appreciate that as well.
Oh, and has lost that ball. Harvey Levette's lost it, and Bryson Goodwin lost it. We'll go back for the first knock-on, says Mr. Kendall. Not an easy game. Michael McLaurin is coming back on. He looks absolutely perished. I thought he was supposed to be warm in Perpignan, or warmer.
He says hypothermia is going to be a bigger concern than concussion at the end of this match for most of these players.
Time off. Here, guys, let's back down.
Milan's going to feed this scrum. Position to attack from.
Good opportunity for Warrington to extend their lead. Brown, Roberts, Ratchford, and there's a whistle from the referee. Obstruction is the call.
Blown against Ben Murdoch-Masilla. Well, there's one man with his eye still on the ball. Chris Kendall, he's travelled a fair distance for this fixture. He's enthusiastic, even if some of these Catalan Dragons players aren't.
Well, this is the test here now. I understand it's really hard for the Catalan Dragons, behind by 20, being driven backwards, but you've got to show there's still some life left, and I think that Samoa's attending to do that here. There's still a club here with some spirit. Things aren't going the way, but you can't give up. You have to keep showing the supporters, the coach themselves here, aren't they? They're still in this fight.
McAlorum is into the thick of things. There he is. And Thornley appeals to the referee, gets the penalty. Another former Wigan man, Thornley, Michael McAlorum, the obviously big name signing, along with David Mead for the Catalan Dragons.
Right, attacking set inside the 30. This should be they should have a pre-planned element about this, certainly to the beginning of the set, where they'd look to readjust and have a look at this Warrington Wolves numbers, where they're numbering up, which side of the field.
Here is Sam Moa. trying to gee the side up, trying to inspire at least a late flurry from his side. McIlorum's short pass, but Warrington defending well on their own try line. It was Bird they held up. Bird has a bit of a tangle. Benjamin Julian, Thornley is in there, but he's over the try line. Is Benjamin Julian? He's held up. 4 tackles, says the referee.
Well, you saw the shape on the 3rd tackle. Samo had driven the ball in. The shape and the attacking setup was on the right-hand side, and it's Greg Bird made the overcall. And once again, that's that attacking set.
Lucas Albert drifts a kick in. Well claimed.
Well read by Kevin Brown, didn't he? He was almost 5 seconds ahead of everybody else on the field. He sensed what was going to happen and anticipated where Lucas Albert would put the kick. Down as a goalkeeper in goals there, took it safely.
Again, they deal with the Catalan threat well to the Warrington Wolves, who still lead by 20 points to 0. 15 minutes to go. Here is Harvey Levette. His last trip to France was very different. He was in the Rochdale side, who lost 54-6 in Toulouse a couple of weeks ago. He did kick a goal, did Harvey Levette. But other than that, it was a pretty painful visit to Toulouse. But this, much more satisfying visit to the other side of the channel for Harvey Levette.
Well, it is, I suppose, for Warrington when you consider that they've managed to win, and win convincingly here, without either Ryan Atkins or Ben Curry, a player who they missed tremendously last year. Not just the tries that he scores, but the tries he creates for so many of his players around him. And a brilliant passer of the ball, kicked for many of the tries at times. And, you know, he's a vital member of the Warrington squad. If they're going to be successful this year, they'll be hoping they can get him back on the pitch as soon as possible. Can't wait to see more of him in 2018.
Here is Bird now, and they get the penalty. There was a high tackle there on Greg Bird. He's a competitor, isn't he?
And he's played at the highest level for a number of years. His second spell at Catalan, don't forget. And I think he's certainly one of their better players, one of their leaders on the field. He's an incredibly frustrated figure at the moment, but he's still trying.
Catalan trying at least to break their duck as Williame plays the ball. McIlorum finds Casti. Ratchford in with the tackle. McIlorum goes for it on his own, but he is driven back. More good work from the Warrington fullback, Ayton. Here is Bird once again. Murdoch Masilla gets a hold of him. McIlorum tries it again. He's lost the ball, and Warrington hold him out.
Well, a touch unlucky not to be penalised there. Warrington, I'm sure that one of the defenders who tackled McIlorum was not onside. When he lost the ball, the referee went on with it. But at the moment, they can't find any way through Warrington's defence.
Wakefield ahead in that snowy game by 2 points to 0 against Widnes. Vikings making the journey, and that's the penalty. I tell you what, you've got to give the French TV credit. Their effects microphones are very good. You can hear the players squelching on that pitch.
It's crunching tackle there. As he hits the ball, is it Sam Moa's left arm? Pulls it out his hand away, doesn't he, as if to plead not guilty with it. There's McIlorum with Mike Cooper in an offside position when he made the tackle. Well, they've failed to find touch. I suppose the wind, the weather, the rain. You can't appreciate just how difficult these conditions are to play a skillful game like the attempted rugby that these two sides have put on.
Lots of fans reminisce fondly about their trips to Perpignan and the strolling down the beach at Canet-Plage.
Not this weekend.
This is a different sort of
listen, Wolves supporters will be no less happy. They'll forego a little sunburn to pick up 2 vital points, in which has been a really underwhelming start to a season after such wholesale changes that have been made at the Warrington Wolves.
More likely to get frostbite or trench foot. Catalan trying again. Bird hoists the kick. Claimed by Mitch Brown, and Brown does well there. Ducks under Thornley's follow-up. Keeps the ball in the field of play.
He's been solid, he's been strong. He's filled that right wing position well, hasn't he? And he's carried the ball. Made some good ground for them. Score with the first try. He's going to get his... Oh, I thought he was going to get the ball again there.
Those are the little things, aren't they, Phil? That, you know, even though they're 20-0 up, fairly nailed on to win the game, and yet he's still not prepared to give up any more possession, and has rescued that for the Warrington Wolves. They're the sorts of things as an individual player you can build a season around. Warrington, they're shifting from right to left. Good win. Well wrapped up, though, by Fuad Yaha.
10 minutes to go, 20 points to 0. And courtesy of Ian Proctor, our historian, archivist, our source of all information rugby league, Catalan have never been nilled at home in their Super League history. And they've got under 10 minutes now to try and at least rectify that.
I don't know what the odds are on them scoring a try, but I think they'd be very high. They've never looked like it in 70 minutes. With the penalty here, they get plenty chance, plenty field position. If we stop the clock, I don't know if everyone appreciates that in the crowd.
There you go. Terrible conditions, and you can hear the splat of feet around the... Presumably that's around the dugout where they've got that microphone. You can see down there at the bottom. Look at the water standing there at the bottom of the pitch. The bottom of the picture, rather, on the edge of the pitch. Penalty. Catalan will try at least to break their duck. Duck, any operative word in these conditions. Here is Busquet. McIlorum sizing up the lie of the land, then finds Samoa, and Samoa takes him on, but good again defence from the Warrington Wolves. George King on the end of it. That's forwards. Won't count for Tierney.
That's a bit of enterprise, at least, from the Dragons. It didn't scream forward to me immediately, but you'll be able to see better than we can. Perhaps a couple of yards, but it's the enterprise is important. There's life and there's ambition yet in this Dragons outfit. They're not going to win today. They're not going to take 2 points today.
Back down.
I think with every game that Lucas Albert plays and that Tony Gigot gets rid of another shade of rustiness following his extended absence, the more potential this team have got.
Here is Tom Lynham, spelling the sin bin for him. Interesting duel he's had with Fuad Yaha. Jack Hughes. The players will just want to hear that final whistle.
I'm thinking about the kit, man. Are they going to bother washing those or just throw them in the bin? I think the Dragons' jerseys, terrible conditions.
Go for.
Here's Ratchford making light of the conditions out there to skip his way past a few tackles, and then Roberts puts the kick in. Has this been his most effective performance, Tyrone Roberts? Okay, he hasn't had that much game time yet.
I think he's obviously building confidence, and the longer he spends playing with Kevin Brown and Stephen Ratchford, they both understand what he needs to do, what they want him to do. Darryl Clark connected with him as well. I think that those four players, that quartet of decision makers for the Wolves, have got to spend time together. I hope they can find the right combinations, because that's, I suppose, what team sport's all about.
And that's the key thing as well, isn't it? It's spending time on the field together. If Kevin Brown's injured or if Stephen Ratchford has to have a period of enforced absence, then that's going to prevent the development or postpone that development. You want that triumvirate, don't you? Full back and your two halves getting game time together, getting used to see how each other play.
Well, Steve McNamara has got McIlorum and Ayton out there. Paul Ayton played at loose forward in the World Cup for PNG on a number of occasions. Here is Greg Bird now. Bird has, as we've said before, he's got a lot on his shoulders, and he's got a lot on his shoulders anyway, because he's also got a coaching role coming up, hasn't he? Is there another set 2 in back play? I think there might be. Oh no.
Go away.
Still wrestling. Hasn't been that amicable out there.
Well, would it be a late challenge on the kicker? It's most likely what's happened.
Just took it hands wall, I think.
The camera's drifted, hasn't it, and followed the ball. Wonderful catch by Stephen Ratchford.
Benjamin, back. Behind the line, please. Behind the line.
Doesn't look as though the players have got the willpower now to make too much of this.
David, just go that way, please. Go that way.
Well, he's watching, isn't he? He's looked to the left of the screen and then set off running, as do some of the players here now. He's noticed. It's the kick by Greg Bird. Is it Harvey Levett who gets to him? There's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that. Oh no, is there a shove there from McIlorum to to King? I think it's George King. Because presumably thought that King was obstructing him. It's gone on right on the edge of shot there, so we're not exactly sure. Michael McIlorum is the name on Chris Kendall's lips. Presumably Ben Thaler filling him in.
Please go over there. Please go over there. I told you to go behind the line, so please go behind the line. Back.
It's been a frustrating afternoon, evening for the Catalan Dragons. As we've said, never nilled at home in Super League.
Man to man, they're going to go into the bin.
And
have you seen what started it?
Just come together with a push.
Okay, mate.
A push is what started it.
Started with a push.
So I'm going to go.
Go on then.
Okay.
Come on.
Don't know the rest of it.
Mickey!
There's no end to your talents. Come on, let's have it.
There's no beginning, many would argue. The yellow card's coming out for the third and fourth times then.
There you go. 10 minutes. 10 minutes.
Well, that's the end of the game for Michael McIlorum.
10 minutes, that's all you need to know. Off you.
The real question was...
George, I'll
that's not Mikel Simon, that is Michael McIlorum. Was it engineered? He looked cold enough when he was stood on the sideline before he came on.
What are you suggesting?
George King, 10 minutes.
Listen, George, let's...
Go on, George.
Let's get an early bath.
I reckon he's trying to deal with the frustration, because when he signed for the Catalan Dragons, he probably didn't envisage that
Greg,
the team would struggle the way they have, the weather would be the way it is, or they'd find themselves in this situation.
Bottom of the table, the Catalan Dragons. It'll still be just one win for them in 6 games so far. And George King joins Michael McIlorum in the bin. The penalty goes to the Warrington Wolves. The Catalan club announcer saying that Greg Bird has got their man of the match.
Well, I think the Wolves have got another try in them. For the supporters who've made the effort to travel to Perpignan to watch this, they've got something to just cheer them up right at the end.
Well, we've only had one try in the second half. That was scored by Ben Murdoch-Masilla.
Sinzalaku Kuala gets to within 20 metres. Big finish here for the Wolves coming.
Livett, you're talking this up, Phil. Here is Brown. On to Goodwin. Goodwin back infield to Lynham. Lynham gets away from Gigot and gets the pass away to Jack Hughes. Referee calls held as Williame and Julien stop Hughes' progress. Kevin Brown across the field gets the pass away. It's 6 to go. Harvey Levett has got the ball. Will get the final try of the game. Underneath those posts, the referee awards the try, tells Catalan he doesn't need to refer it to the video ref. And Harvey Levett, a very different trip to France for him on the end of a tonking in Toulouse a couple of weeks ago, on the winning side, to the delight of those Warrington supporters in Perpignan.
And it's a ricochet, and it's fallen into the hands of Harvey Levett. It's a lovely little dragged step off his left foot to open up the space in front of him. Look at that lovely little left foot step, good acceleration. And Levett goes through. It's a 26-0 scoreline, or will be when the conversion is bobbed over. Isn't he pleased with himself? And so he should be. Didn't have much reaction time there. Great step, good acceleration. The Wolves take the points.
Try scorer against Saints last time out in defeat. Try scorer against the Catalan Dragons, converted by Bryson Goodwin. And as Phil predicted, final flourish from the Warrington Wolves.
Well, if the Wolves are to become a consistent top 4 team, they need to make sure they have enough club trained, develop players themselves, and Harvey Levett is a perfect example of that. All of the top sides have 1 or 2 players who stand out, don't they? The ones who've come through the ranks, they haven't brought them in from other clubs. And Harvey Levett has learnt, he's got Warrington in his system, and he's proud to play for that club at present and play well for them. Great score for him there. Certainly make his trip home a memorable and enjoyable one.
It's been a soggy, at times bad-tempered game. We've had 4 players sin-binned. Knock on from the Warrington Wolves. Conditions have not been kind, but Warrington have handled them much the better of the 2 sides. Disciplined performance in terms of what they've done with the ball, sensible.
And as fans think about what they're going to be doing with the rest of the evening, maybe switching off from the action on the field, this is where Steve Price will be paying the most attention. It'll be the last challenge of this Warrington Wolves line, and he'll be wanting to make sure that the concentration is kept, and even at a game that's put to bed now, they're showing that attention to detail and that professionalism, really something they can take back to Cheshire with them, along with the 2 points on the competition table. And Benjamin Julian led away. That looks to me like perhaps a head knock. He looks incredibly groggy. And the old stalwart Remy Casti looking to retake the field for the last 90 seconds of this contest.
How they would wish for Thomas Bosk to be in his prime.
And that's a real heavy contact there, Benjamin Julian.
Ian, head in!
Steve McNamara down on the sidelines. A lot for him to think about after this defeat. They might yet break their deadlock. No, they won't. They'll get the ball back. Mead chasing for all he's worth.
You see Stefan Ratchford applauding Tom Lynham there. It was good reactions. They looked to bring up that left-hand edge for the Wolves. It's good reactions from Lynham. Look at Stefan Ratchford giving his teammate a clap. He's kept your concentration, son. There's a minute and a half left. That's a good sign.
Positive for Catalan. Another great performance. Another solid performance from David Mead. He's caught everything that's come his way at the back. He's tried in attack.
He's an incredibly classy player. I remember watching him at the Broncos and the Titans. He was signalled as or heralded as a major signing, and he is, of course. But he's playing behind a misfiring Dragons line at the moment. And there's just another example of it.
Titans' record try scorer David Mead was, but no chance for him tonight. He scored tries in the first 3 games of the season for the Catalan Dragons, but they are going to end up with 0-3 tonight, and that is the first time in their Super League history on a miserable wet night in Perpignan, but it's delight for the Warrington Wolves. Another win for them, 3rd of the season, and upwardly mobile are the Warrington Wolves.
Stop the clock again.
Out, time back on. Surrender.
Warrington
stand. Wait.
Counting down now to victory.
Go.
It was the slowest play the ball of the game, wasn't it? They're ready for that hooter, desperate to hear it, to get off the field, enjoy one another's company, and get warm.
He's had a good game. As Ben Murdoch-Masila, as that hooter sounds, Philbin will take the tackle. Little kick chase for Lynham, and Gigot goes down and says, that's it, that's enough. It's been horrible for the Catalan Dragons. It's been a horrible night, but it has been a very satisfactory trip and a very satisfactory result for the Warrington Wolves. Greg Bird has tried his hardest, but Harvey Levett, with that late try, has rounded off Warrington's win by 26 points to 0. Murdoch-Masila getting 2 of them, and Warrington move up to 5th in the table. Started it in 9th, this game up to 5th. That's more like it. Of course, games to come. Castleford to play on Sunday against Wigan, Wakefield against Widnes on at the moment. Wakefield leading Widnes by 2 points to 0 in snowy West Yorkshire. In soggy southwest France, Warrington have done the job and got the points. Be very different conditions for these NRL games coming up this week. On Thursday, Melbourne take on North Queensland. That's at 8 AM on Sky Sports Arena on Thursday. And then a doubleheader on Friday as Canterbury take on Penrith. That's from 6:30 AM on Sky Sports Arena on Friday morning. And the West Tigers take on the Brisbane Broncos 8:45 AM on Arena on Friday for those NRL games. And Golden Point is back for its second episode on Thursday evening from 7 o'clock on Sky Sports Arena. Join the guys for plenty of discussion, and then that is followed by Widnes against Salford, 7:30 for that one. And then on Friday, the Leeds Rhinos, fresh from their victory over St Helens, take on the Castleford Tigers. What a game that should be at Ellen Road, 7:30. Sky Sports Arena for that. Let's hope it's drier and brighter next weekend, because it has been a very, very wet night in Perpignan, but a night of jubilation for the Warrington Wolves, who've won on the road and moved into the top 8 in the Betfred Super League. Goodbye.
Sky Sports. Feel it all. Sky Sports Action. Feel it all.
Just looking to pass, earn the right to play, go forward.
Gale to Hardacre. Hardacre to Minikin. Wide to Reedham. 31 for the season.
Howdy.
Ah.
You want some help?
Are you sure that's the right amount? Fine,
Thank you so much.
Car looks good. Still got some money left. Whoa! Ooh-wee. All of it?
All of it.
Most of it.
Give it most of it. Try and keep something in the baby.
That's a drive-out win. Like saving carloads of cash at Confused.com.
People are usually happiest at home. You want to know who said that? Shakespeare. Isn't that crazy? Mind blown. I wonder what made him happy at home. Well, probably the same stuff that makes us happy. Talking, thinking, texting, cuddling on the oldie sofa, waxing that little beard.
When home really matters. Sofology. Feel at home on a sofa you love.
You can watch the latest movies straight from the cinema on your TV. Easy.
Hurry, offer ends soon. Search Sky Store 50.
Ready to roll? Sky Mobile lets you roll over all your unused data at the end of each month. So your data is yours to keep. To use for whatever you like, whenever you want. Order the new Samsung Galaxy S9 today and keep rolling with Sky Mobile. Ready to roll! Ready to roll.
Monaghan cutting a swathe up the knee. This Eden has lost it. Maguire swoops. Maguire scores the try for the Rhinos.